Wealth isn't about numbers in your bank account. It's not about the car you drive, the home you live in, or the watch on your wrist. It begins in one place, your mind. Every wealthy person you've ever heard of, every success story that inspires millions, started with an internal shift. They didn't just make more money, they thought differently. They believed something different. They trained their minds to operate on a level where wealth wasn't a fantasy. It was a foregone conclusion. Your thoughts shape your reality. That's not some soft, poetic idea, that's a fact. If you think poor, you behave poor. If you constantly think in terms of lack, fear, scarcity, and limitation, your decisions will reflect that. You'll hesitate instead of act, you'll cut corners instead of invest, you'll play not to lose instead of playing to win, and every time you let fear dictate your moves, you reinforce a cycle that keeps you small. But the moment you begin to think like someone who owns their future, everything changes. Thinking rich means taking ownership of your life. It means seeing problems as opportunities in disguise. It means when a door closes, you don't sit in the hallway, you build a new door. It's a mental toughness, a vision-driven discipline that says, I will not accept average. I will not accept excuses. I will not wait for someone to hand me my worth. I will think, speak, and act as if success is my only option. The most powerful asset you have is not your education, not your resume, and not even your talent. It's your ability to control the conversation happening inside your head. If that internal dialogue is telling you, I can't, I don't know how, it's too late, then your external world will mirror that belief. But if you begin to speak the language of power, of certainty, of growth, your entire life will rise to meet that standard. This isn't about positive thinking for the sake of feeling good. This is about rewiring your internal programming so that your decisions, your reactions, and your habits all align with the identity of a person who wins. Wealth begins when you stop seeing yourself as a victim of your past and start seeing yourself as the architect of your future. The person who thinks rich makes decisions from a place of vision, not circumstance. They don't ask, can I afford this? They ask, how can I afford this? That question alone separates the masses from the few who rise. It shifts the brain into problem-solving mode. It demands creativity, it demands courage, and it invites growth. Most people wait for evidence before they believe. They wait to see money before they feel secure. They wait to see results before they commit. But the wealthy mindset works in reverse. It believes first, it commits first, it shows up first, and then the results follow. You cannot outperform your own beliefs. If deep down you don't believe you deserve success, or that it's too far away, or that it's only for other people, then you'll sabotage every breakthrough you're given. Thinking rich means eliminating those subconscious walls. It means facing those inner limitations and breaking them with new standards, new expectations, and new visions that scare you into action. The mind is a battlefield. And every day, you're either planting seeds of prosperity or reinforcing barriers of poverty. The way you speak to yourself, the way you interpret setbacks, the way you imagine your future, that's the soil where wealth grows or dies. And no one else is responsible for it but you. When your mindset is aligned with abundance, everything else follows. You begin to attract opportunities because you're finally tuned to recognize them. You begin to network differently because you're not intimidated by success. You begin to save and invest because you see your future as something worth preparing for. You move with a different level of energy because your life is no longer about surviving, it's about building, growing, and thriving. When people hear the phrase act rich, they often picture luxury, designer clothes, flashy cars, lavish vacations, and indulgent spending. But that interpretation misses the truth entirely. Acting rich has nothing to do with showing off wealth and everything to do with showing up as someone who is building it. It's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about becoming who you are meant to be. True wealth is first internalized and then materialized. If you try to reverse that order, you end up chasing symbols instead of building substance. Acting rich means stepping into an identity of discipline, clarity, power, and vision. It's not about dropping thousands on a shopping spree. It's about walking into a room like your presence matters, like your time has value, like your goals are non-negotiable. A rich identity doesn't crave external validation because it's built on internal conviction. It's not loud or desperate. It's confident, composed, and focused. It makes decisions from a future-driven mindset, not present-day insecurity. This identity is about how you treat your time, how you handle your emotions, and how you show up when no one's watching. Someone acting rich doesn't waste their mornings because they know time is the most expensive currency. They don't speak with doubt in their voice because they've trained themselves to think with intention. They don't need to convince anyone of their worth because they're too busy proving it to themselves every single day. If you're serious about success, you need to detach wealth from consumption and tie it to behavior. Wealthy people don't act rich because they want to impress. They act rich because they've built systems, habits, and standards that align with their highest self. They plan their days with precision. They invest in themselves consistently. And they hold themselves to a code of excellence. This identity is crafted, not inherited, and it's accessible to anyone who's willing to operate on a higher frequency before the evidence shows up. Acting rich also means refusing to think small. It's about the posture you hold when speaking about your goals, the decisions you make with your money even when it's limited, and the respect you give to your own dreams. It's showing up to that meeting prepared, welled, rest, and mentally sharp, not because you're trying to impress someone else, but because you refuse to lower your standard. A person acting rich understands that excellence is a habit, not a performance. This mindset transforms how you approach risk. People stuck in a scarcity identity see risk as danger. People acting rich see risk as a tool. They understand calculated risk is necessary for elevation. They invest in growth, even if it stretches them. They spend not to escape their reality, but to expand it. Acting rich means you trust yourself enough to invest in the long game. You're not chasing quick dopamine hits. You're building something real, even if no one else sees it yet. The shift in identity is the gateway. It forces you to look at your habits, your language, your posture, your priorities. Are you speaking like someone with purpose? Are you budgeting like someone who respects money? Are you surrounding yourself with people who challenge you or people who comfort your excuses? Acting rich requires you to audit your life not for image but for integrity. You can't wait until your life looks as successful to begin living like someone who deserves success. That thinking is backwards. It's broken. You must lead with action. You must become the person who handles wealth long before you possess it. This is how legacies are built. Not with lottery luck, not with wishful thinking, but with daily choices made from an identity that demands more. The person who acts rich doesn't do it for attention, they do it for alignment. They know exactly where they're going, and they operate every single day like that future has already been written. They're not swayed by trends or the opinions of people who haven't done the work. They don't look sideways. They look forward, always, because acting rich is about owning your value before the world recognizes it. It's about leading with internal authority, not external applause. There's a dangerous illusion that's been sold to the masses, that success is a single, explosive event. That one lucky break, one viral moment, one big deal is all it takes to go from struggle to significance. This fantasy creates impatience, entitlement, and worst of all, inconsistency. Because if success is a jackpot, then effort becomes a gamble. But that's not how it works, not for those who build lasting success, not for those who operate at a high level. Real success doesn't come overnight, it comes every day, in the quiet, repetitive rituals that most people overlook. The truth is simple, but not easy. Success is built, not found. It is constructed through repeated decisions, daily disciplines, and a mindset that values progress over perfection. It's the way you wake up, the way you manage your time, the way you talk to yourself when no one else is around. It's not glamorous. Most days it feels like work. Most days no one claps for you, and that's exactly why most people never taste it. They want the reward without the routine. They want the results without the repetition. Success lives in the mundane. It hides in the habits you commit to when motivation disappears. It reveals itself when you choose focus over distraction, when you study instead of scroll, when you act instead of procrastinate. Those choices are microscopic in the moment, but massive over time. That's the secret, the compounding power of daily effort. One workout won't change your body. One book won't shift your mindset. One day of discipline won't redefine your destiny. But stack enough of those days together, and suddenly you look like an overnight success to the world, even though it took years. The people who rise are the ones who treat their future like it's sacred. They don't rely on emotion to move. They build systems, they eliminate excuses. They build their calendar around their goals, not their mood. They show up to their work with intensity, even when they're tired, even when no one's watching, because they know that success isn't something you wait for. It's something you meet halfway. It doesn't come to the most talented, it comes to the most prepared, and preparation is a daily ritual. Success demands you to become a different person long before the world rewards you for it. It demands that you operate like a professional, even when your results still look amateur. It demands consistency without applause. The world sees the moment someone wins the award, the contract, the launch, but they don't see the 5 a.m. mornings, the rejection, the days filled with doubt. That's the real price of success. Not a dollar amount, not a title. The price is paid in repetition, in ritual, in resolve. Ritual is what anchors you when nothing else makes sense. When everything feels uncertain, your rituals ground you in progress. When you're tired of the process, the ritual carries you. It keeps you aligned with your vision. It reminds you that every day you show up with purpose, you're casting a vote for the person you are becoming. And the more votes you cast, the harder it is to break that identity. That's how transformation happens, not all at once, but one decision at a time. You cannot wait for success to feel right. You must make it a non-negotiable. You must treat your goals like contracts you've signed with your future self. Not suggestions, not experiments, contracts. And every day you execute those rituals, your reading, your workouts, your strategic thinking, your discipline. You reinforce the identity of a person who doesn't need motivation, only direction. When you treat success like a jackpot, you'll chase shiny things and quit the moment it gets hard. But when you treat it like a ritual, you learn how to suffer well. You learn how to build with intention. You understand that the days that feel boring, hard, repetitive, those are the bricks that build empires.